Welcome to section 14.2, part 2. This is the 151st session of the CISSP exam prep series. This part goes deep on the ticket-based system that runs internal single sign-on, then the two protocols that centralize remote access. In this session, we'll unpack the internal authentication workhorses. What is Kerberos, and how does it prove identity with tickets? What are its moving parts? How does a user actually log in and request a resource? Where are its weak spots? And how do Radius and TACACS Plus differ? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because these systems quietly authenticate thousands of logins in most enterprises. Picture a manufacturing firm where every employee signs in once each morning and reaches dozens of resources with no further prompts. That seamless experience runs on the exact machinery we're about to open up. When it breaks, the whole workforce grinds to a halt. So you need to know how it hangs together and where it can fail. Let's meet the main character. What is Kerberos and how does it prove identity? Kerberos is a ticket-based authentication system that uses a trusted third party to vouch for who you are. Once you prove your identity, it issues you tickets, and your account presents those tickets to reach resources without logging in again. It leans on symmetric key cryptography and gives authentication traffic both confidentiality and integrity, defending against eavesdropping and replay. Think of a theme park wristband. You verify once at the gate, then flash the band for every ride without repeating the check. What are the moving parts inside Kerberos? A handful of elements do the work. The key distribution center is the trusted third party that authenticates everyone and holds the secret keys. Inside it sit the authentication service, which verifies identities, and the ticket granting service, which hands out tickets. A ticket is an encrypted proof that you may access a specific object with a limited lifetime. A ticket granting ticket is a special first ticket proving you already authenticated, so you can request more tickets. A principal is any entity that can request a ticket, and a realm is the logical domain that Kerberos rules over. So how does the login actually flow? In a careful exchange where your password never crosses the wire. You type your username and password into the client, and the client sends only the username and domain to the authentication server. The server confirms you exist. Then the key distribution center builds a session key and a timestamped ticket granting ticket, encrypting the session key with a hash of your password. It ships both back to the client. Your client decrypts the session key using a hash of the password you just typed. If your password was right, it works. If it was wrong, decryption simply fails, and you are stopped without the password ever traveling. Then how do you reach an actual resource? By trading your ticket granting ticket for a service ticket. The client sends the ticket granting ticket back and asks for access to a resource. The center checks that the ticket is valid and that your account has the privileges for that resource. Then the ticket granting service issues a service ticket. The client hands that service ticket to the server hosting the resource, which verifies it with the center. Once identity and authorization both check out, the two open a session and communication begins. Every step stays encrypted, so credentials and session keys never appear in the clear. Where is Kerberos fragile? In a couple of important places. First, the key distribution center is a single point of failure. Compromise it, and every secret key on the network is exposed. Take it offline, and no one can authenticate at all. Second, Kerberos is strict about time. By default, every system must sit within 5 minutes of the others, so organizations sync clocks against a common time source. If a machine drifts out of sync, its tickets stop validating and it loses access to protected resources. Powerful, but demanding of both availability and precise timing. Now the first, remote access protocol. What does Radius do? It centralizes authentication for remote connections, like virtual private networks or dial-up, when an organization runs several access servers. A user connects to any access server, and that server, acting as the client, forwards the credentials to the central Radius server to verify authentication and authorization and to track accounting. Many internet providers use it so subscribers can connect from anywhere. One useful detail for the exam, Radius by default encrypts only the password, not the whole session, though it can layer on additional encryption. Notice the direction here. The network access server is the client, and the Radius server is the shared authority behind it. How does TACACS Plus improve on that? By separating the three functions and encrypting far more. Where Radius bundles things and protects only the password, TACACS Plus splits authentication, authorization, and accounting into distinct processes that can even live on separate servers. Just as important, it encrypts the entire authentication exchange, not merely the password. It also runs over a connection-oriented transport for more reliable delivery. Think of Radius as one clerk handling everything at a single window, and TACACS Plus as three specialists at three windows, each conversation fully sealed. That separation and stronger encryption are the headline differences the exam wants. So let's bring it together. Kerberos is the internal single sign-on workhorse, using a trusted center and encrypted tickets so your password never crosses the network. Its parts include the key distribution center, the authentication and ticket granting services, tickets, ticket granting tickets, principals, and realms. You log in once to earn a ticket granting ticket, then trade it for service tickets to reach resources. Its risks are a single point of failure and strict time synchronization. And for remote access, Radius centralizes authentication while encrypting only the password, whereas TACACS Plus separates the three functions and encrypts the whole exchange. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.